Morning, folks. Hope you're all well. If you can type in, just let me know who you are. And also, is that noise in the background a problem? Or can you hear me okay? If it is, hi Steve, nice to see you. If that noise is too much, I'll just move to a slightly different area. But I think I'll do that anyway. It does sound noisy, doesn't it? Oh, you can hear me okay. Right. Who else is online? Whereabouts are you based, Steve? Have we met before? I don't recognise your surname. Have we met before, Steve? Hi, Mark. You all right? Hope you're okay. Are you in the office, Mark, or are you at home working? And that background noise is not a problem, you say? Oh, so you're a bootneck, are you? Well, welcome to you. Yeah, I'm sure you are. Everyone is. Is Tony Veal still involved with Hasler Company, Steve? I know he was for a few years. I'm not sure he is now. And Mark, are you okay with that noise in the background, or is it affecting the audio? So I can just move over there if it's a problem. I think it might be getting closer, actually. I think it will do. Okay. Alrighty, a couple more minutes, then we'll get started. That's very intimate, Stephen. Alrighty, On-Course Foundation. So very warm welcome to you. It's 7 minutes past there. Sorry about the delay today. Had a slight problem with the old... Hi, Jez. Nice to hear from you. A slight problem with the old computer. So, we're going to talk about the short game today, the delicate little shots. Now, if I have a ball on the ground here, the simplest way to get it to go to my target over the short distance is to use the putter. And the putter is a very, very flat-faced club. It just hits the back of the ball. It's the simplest, easiest club to use. Now, the short game really is about 10 or 15 yards, so 30 to 45 foot, that sort of area there. And we're trying to get control over the distance that we hit the ball over a very, very short distance as well. So as you'll see here, ball's on the ground, and I move it by just hitting the back of the ball and pushing that ball forwards. And that's great as long as the surface in front of you is flat. Now, putting's superb for learning the game. It's one of the first things we teach. Hi, Karen. One of the first things that we teach any disabled serviceman that we come across, because you can do it with one hand, one arm, one leg, what have you. So, in essence, what we're trying to do is get a clean strike at the back of the ball, like this. And if you are suffering with an injury on the left-hand side, then putting with one arm is actually very easy. Simple exercise. We don't need to move the body dramatically. And we move the putter very smoothly in front of us like this. Now the key, when we're holding the putter here, is that we have the hand on the side of the handle and it pushes backwards and forwards. Now, if you are suffering with a right-hand injury, you can only use the left side, then we move like this. So whatever happens, and if you can use both hands when we do, you'll see my palms face each other when we put. And that's very simply because if we're trying to send the ball that way, we'd either hit it with the palm of our right hand or the back of the left hand and push those two elements to the target. Because we want the putter to move to the target on a straight line the way you want the ball to go. Now, that's fine if the grass in front of you is very flat and you can move the ball along it. Now, if the grass isn't flat, we have to bump the ball up in the air a little bit. So now I'd use a different club, which has a face angle on it, a loft. And if you look at my putter here, there is no loft. to it, it's completely flat. Whereas this club here, my 7-iron, is normally used for hitting the ball about 170 yards. I'm now going to hit it 10 or 15 yards. And then I'll do it with one hand. And what you should see is the ball jump up in the air and then run towards its target. And we've used this shot here when the grass in front of us... Hi, Vikrant. Nice to see you. When the grass in front of us is a little bit shaggy, a bit muddy, or it might have a sort of bit of a wet patch there as well. Hi, G. Hi, Keith. Thanks for joining in. So if you've got something in front of it we need to pop the ball over, then that's when we use this club here. So in terms of technique, we hold the club right down at the bottom of the handle. Remember I said to you that this club here, my number 7-iron, can hit the ball 170 yards. And if I want to hit 15 yards, I need more or less one-tenth of the power. So if I hold the club much lower down, it makes the club less powerful. So then what I do, hold the club further down, and I make a very short movement backwards and forwards. And that doesn't mean I do this. I don't just flick with the wrist. That's really important, that distinction. If you're a one-arm golf with the left arm, then it's one lever, move this shoulder here. Or if you're right arm, it's this shoulder here. Now you can see again, going back to my other points when I'm talking about how we teach disabled golfers, this is a game, this is a part of the game where you don't need to use all the body. So if you are suffering with an injury, leg-wise or arm-wise, then the short game is a fantastic place to start. So if I'm swinging with just one arm here, I'll move it backwards and forwards, and you'll see the ball just jumps in the air a little amount, and that's what pops the ball over the rubbish that's in front of us and gets it rolling towards the target. So those are your first two immediate options. Now the reason why they're your immediate options is that when we throw a golf ball to a target, none of us would lob it up in the air hoping it would land on target. You'd actually do an underarm throw. And if you look what an underarm throw looks like, it's the same action. It's a move into this arm where we just throw from under here. So if I'm going to throw to my target down there, I'd throw underneath like that. If I'm going to throw my left arm the other way, I'd throw like that. So that motion going backwards and forwards, a great image of that is the elephant's trunk, just swinging backwards and forwards like this. And that motion in front of the body is what we do. So what we're trying not to do is to move just like this. Now, whether you're one-armed or one-legged, through injury or through loss of limb, this stays the same, and it's something every single limb golfer that we've ever taught can do very happily and learn the game. And by the way, it doesn't mean to say it's easy. Boy, oh boy, is that a frustrating part of the game. It's a tremendous art and a tremendous skill which every player had to have. Now, interestingly, when they do the stats on the world's best players, male and female, the male golfers are much better at these distance control shots than the lady members are from this. Lady golfers are from the same sort of distance, and so the big physical strong guys like Tiger Woods, who are physically extremely powerful, also have tremendous control. Now, we'd have thought ladies would be more delicate or have more of a softer feel for these shots, but it's really about quality of body movement. And the world's best players like Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods, I beg your pardon, are the best chippers of the game. So they have that real skill for delicacy. Now, the lady golfers are fantastic at it, but interestingly, the lady golfers actually are closer percentage-wise to driving distance and accuracy to the men than they are on the short game. So it's a bit sort of counterintuitive there. So it just shows that these are skills that can be learned by everybody. Now, Karen's asking me there, are the hips totally still? Your hips are quite an interesting discussion point in a golf swing, really, Karen, because your legs are much more important than your hips. Your hips actually don't have a lot of range. They can go backwards and forwards, a small amount, but your legs have a huge amount of range and movement. So what we try and do with the legs in this shot is just have them there to support the movement with my hands and my arms. So no, there's not much movement there in the legs. There's a little bit of flow and a bit of sort of softness there, and that allows my hands and arms to move backwards and forwards. So really, if we hold the club correctly and get a good picture in our mind of what we're trying to achieve, and that's 90% of the battle, I assure you. Understanding what you're trying to achieve is a huge part in this game. Now, when the balls, when we've got to go to our target in front of us, send it along the ground when you can, or pop it up in the air with a little bit of loft where you have to. And if you're really stuck, then that's where you get out one of your wedges here. Now your wedges have this huge amount of face angle here. And then what you'll see is this ball will jump up in the air now. So it's a completely different shot that I'm striking here, because I want the ball to jump up over all the rubbish. But now what you'll see I have to make a bigger swing now. So there's more motion here, therefore there's more risk. And so as I'm swinging on these here, I'm making a bigger swing to hit the ball the same distance, but with a different height profile. So if we look here, you can just see on my club face there, those marks, that's where the club's been striking the ball. And that means the club is coming underneath the ball, rolling up the face and flying off. So when I strike here, I'm trying to get the club underneath the ball. Now, golf's very complicated. I'm not sure what your history is with golf, Steve, but it's an incredibly complicated game, but fantastic fun at the same time. It's a real mental challenge. You're outdoors in the fresh air and what have you. You can be competitive with, I'm a professional golfer, and I can play with a very, very early standard beginner, and we can have a game because we have a handicapping system whereby they get a generous amount of shots, and I get them taken off. I get them added to my score, he gets taken off his score. And so when we play, we can play a competition element there. Now, when I say the game's complicated, it's quite easy to learn as long as you follow the structure. And it's easy to learn as long as you sort of focus on what your task is, what you're trying to do with a golf ball relative to your target all the time. Now, this shot here is a particularly difficult shot. So what we do, first of all, when we teach on the On-Course Foundation, is we'll use a T-peg there, pop the ball on it, and that gives us then the full feeling of the club sliding under the ball to pop it up in the air. So you can see that's probably the highest shot I hit if you can see it clearly. And what happens is now that T-peg's made it a little easier for me to go under the ball and pop the ball up in the air here. So if you then look at it from a bull's eye point of view, it's terrifying for a golf ball. Look at that. It's got that horrible sharp edge of the club there, right next to the ball. Alrighty, so what we need to do is ensure the club travels under the ball, and that's why the T-peg is a big help, because the club travels under the ball. So Karen, there, your feet weren't parallel there with the chip. Is that better? Well, I stand in a position which makes my body work the best way. So you've heard me say this many times with the On-Course Foundation. We actually don't care what the disabilities are or what the injuries are, because we can work around them. If I stand with my feet like that, I still play a successful shot. If I stand with them like that, I still play a successful shot. And the reason for that, Karen, is that the feet don't play a massive role in what we're doing. It's all the hands and the arms. It's this motion here, the hands and the arms, that's super important in golf. So when I stand like that, I stand like that for comfort. It works best for me. And that's the beauty of the game, is that when we come to the events, we can say we're going to find a way of making it work for you, no matter what your ability, what your disability, what your capabilities are, what your limitations are, we will make it work for you. So it's a great question, because we all do it very differently. Now, some of the best chippers in the world stand pointing right of target, so most of the best chippers point left of target. All right, so those are basically the three shots that we try and work on when we come to the On-Course Foundation. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask you how many chips I can get in the basket. I'm going to have 10 attempts. Type in your numbers there. Let me pace it out for you so we can make it a fair fight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to have 10 attempts, not starting yet. That'll give me a chance to warm up. And what I'll do there, as a challenge, oh, hang on, 10? Oh, my God, Karen, just missed two of my first warm-up ones. 8, 6, all right, what I'm going to do then is I'll stick a $5 in the On-Course Foundation charity tank for every chip I miss of the 10. So if I get 3, I'll stick to 7 5s and it's 35 quid. But you've gone a bit long there. I will change 5. Okay, Vikram, anything lower than 5? You want to keep going, insulting me here? All right, guys, I'm going to stick a 5er in for every missed chip. Vikram's really worked on his numbers there. All right, 10 goes. Has Mark Scorer chipped in yet? Has he given me any jip? He normally gives me a little bit. What's he going for? Come on, Mark. Right, I'm going to go. 10 balls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, here we go. I only just missed, I assure you. Oh. That didn't go in. That's 4 so far. Yeah, not good. Five missed. Looks expensive this morning. Oh, no. Hey, got one. All right, that's an expensive exercise for me there. Well done, Gus. All right, well, listen, that's 45 quid on the On-Course Foundation, which they'll be getting very soon. All right, guys, well, listen, thanks for tuning in. It was a brief session today for the PRU and the PRC units. I just want to talk about those 3 very important shots there. The low one with the putter, play it whenever you can, I assure you. I'll tell you a very interesting story here. I was caddying for a chap who was playing with Nick Faldo in a pro-am, and Nick Faldo at the time was the best player in the world. And he wasn't a very good chipper, this chap. We had a shot as I was caddying for him near the green, and I said, just take the putter. There's too many people around. You're going to get nervous and you'll probably play a bad chip. I said, okay, I'll give it a go. So he put a putter out and he knocked it to like a few inches from the hole and nobody clapped. Anyway, Faldo came over to me and said, you know what? If you'd have chipped that with a wedge and knocked it 10 foot past, people would have clapped. So people don't understand that's about getting the club to contact the ball to send it as close as possible to the target. So, in essence, always use the putter where you can. If you can't use a putter, play a 7-iron. If you can't use a putter or a 7-iron, then take out your lofted club, but make sure that club goes underneath the ball. Now, in terms of technique, on all the short shots, hands low down the handle, and then Di talks about this all the time in the lessons, one of the other coaches, this triangle forward between the shoulder and the arms, that goes back and forwards. And based on my last performance there with those 10 balls, where I've missed 9 out of 10, I think I'll be knocking Di up for I got a chipping lesson. Hi, Ray. Hope you're okay. What did your dad play at, Karen? So what I'm talking about there when I talk about the Di lessons, Di Llewellyn, the other coach, is this triangle here doesn't break or get misshapen. It moves back and forwards like this. And we move that triangle back and through like this. Now, if you can do one thing at home, if you're rehearsing, it's make this motion here. Now, I'm putting my hands to the ground, my palms to the ground here purposely, because that's the motion. We want the club to slide on the ground here. We're not looking for a dig. We don't want that club chopping in. We want a slide or a bouncing action. Now, if you go to my videos that I've done for the On-Course Foundation, I did one last week, which is a VE Day one, and I talk about sort of 13 or 14 different styles of how to use the wedge, and it's from an artist's point of view, not necessarily the technical side of things, but the artist's point of view of how we get the feel for the club interacting with the ground, the different shapes and moves that are in the swing. And it's something which is well worth looking at to give you another idea of how I do my coaching. And I think it's something which you could sort of, one of the things might just stick with you more than what I've talked about today, or vice versa, what have you. But the more you can learn about the different styles, then the better your short game is going to get. Okay, Matt, how you doing? Here's a question for you, Matt. You've been out cutting the fairways and what have you. Looks like you're going to be ready for golf. We're probably going to come back on Saturday for the members here to have the golf course ready. But the golf course looks fantastic, doesn't it? I mean, the place looks like it's sort of fully carpeted, really. And all the divots have knitted back together again. How confident are you getting it open for this week? And again, any other questions from anybody? I think Mark Scorer's logged off now. He's so amused by me chipping 10 balls and missing 9 of them. Feet close together, hands down the handle, and a little movement backwards and forwards. See, I'm not really stressing too much here or trying to hit the ball very hard. And let the club do the work for me. As long as I slide underneath it. There goes, no money in it now. I'm getting the balls in. Well, why didn't I do that earlier? Just shows you how complicated the game is, eh? What distance would I use a putter? Well, it largely depends on what's in front of me. If the maximum distance, it could be 40, 50 yards, mate. If the ground's nice and firm, there's nothing in front of you, and it's quite flat, well-cut grass, I'd use a putter, no problem at all. It all depends on the situation. What I'm saying to you really is that when I started today, I said around about the 50 to 20 yard mark, really, that sort of range. Now in wintertime, that feels like 30 or 40 yards because the ground's so much softer and soggier and what have you. Whereas in the in the summertime, when the ground's really bouncy and hard, particularly on some of the harder courses that we play on the coast and what have you, then the ball moves a lot faster. So you're a good golfer, Jez. You got to sort of look at every situation and work it out, haven't you? Open tomorrow from 8 o'clock. Wowee! Oh, they'll appreciate it. Let me tell you, Matt. They'll be delighted to be back on the golf course. Thanks, Vikram. Appreciate it. All right, guys. Well, listen, thanks ever so much for tuning in. I hope you guys at the PRC, the PRU units found it helpful. And it gave you another sort of angle of the game, because the game is multifaceted. There's lots of parts of it. We're really looking forward to getting back in action with the On-Course Foundation in some form or another, whatever form that takes. And we look forward to getting back together again, getting the camaraderie, meeting up and catching up with you all. My extreme pleasure to all of you tuning in. Thanks ever so much for your thank yous. As ever, we're only here for you because you're so important to us and to the nation. God bless you, Karen, who's a frontline NHS nurse, Ward's sister. So thanks very much for what you're doing. Not easy out there. My pleasure, Stephen. Hopefully I'll meet you one day very soon. And look forward to seeing you all next time. Thanks ever so much. All the best.